When I was 18, I took in a stray girl nobody wanted off the side of the road. I tried so hard for so long, but I could never get through to her. Then her first love showed up, and I realized she actually had a soft side. Just not for me the day I let her go. I told her a lie. I said I would be right back. And then I never came back. 7 years later, we ran into each other on set. She had become a top actress and grabbed me again, saying, "You said you would be right back, so where did you go?" My palms were sweating like crazy because rising star Bai Ningbing was standing just 15 feet behind me. All I had to do was turn around and we would come face to face. "Ms. Bai, your next scene is a reunion with your ex. You need to show longing and reluctance to let go." Bai Ningbing let out a quiet scoff, longing. I really do not see the point. He is an ex. What is there even to long for? Her voice was still the same cool and distant as ever. Back when we were 18, she used that same voice sometimes, soft, sometimes sharp, calling me Xiao Yu. The conversation behind me kept going and I missed whatever Director Fu said, but Bai Ningbing's detached voice cut through loud and clear. I am completely over my ex. I am not the type to go back to someone I have already moved on from. And as that someone, I had zero intention of letting her recognize me once filming wrapped. We would go our separate ways. I was right in the middle of that thought when a coworker suddenly called out to me real loud. "Hey, Xiao Yu! Did you find the prop?" Everything behind me went dead silent. I grabbed the prop and bolted. Bai Ningbing did not come after me. Maybe she did not hear it, or maybe she did, and just did not care while we were setting up the studio. I pulled my coworker aside and said, "Call me Xiao Fang from now on. Not Xiao Yu anymore. What is wrong? Xiao Yu sounds so much better. Does Xiao Fang sound more professional or something?" My coworker cracked up laughing. And I actually bought that excuse. This was my first project as an assistant director. I already knew before joining the crew that the lead actress was Bai Ningbing. She was a second-generation celebrity, with connections to half the industry, and on top of that, she could actually act. She won Best Actress at just 25, and unlucky for me, she was also my first love. I went back and forth on whether to take this job, but in the end, I did not want to pass it up. It was too good of an opportunity, so I took it. I swore to myself I absolutely could not let her figure out who I was. Because if she did, I would be finished the way we broke up. 7 years ago was not exactly clean. I wrote in the letter, "I always knew you were from a celebrity family. I only got close to you to dig up dirt on your family. I never actually liked the whole tough girl thing. I like someone gentle and kind. Do not look for me again." The words were ice cold, but the way I walked away was a complete mess. I had no idea how Bai Ningbing felt after reading that letter, but she was the type to hold a serious grudge. If she caught me, my whole career could get blacklisted. Bai Ningbing looks even more stunning in person than on screen. Those genes are something else. I mean, just think about who her parents are, a former Best Actress and Best Actor. Even on an average day, she would still be out of most people's league, but what I love about Bai Ningbing is her energy. So graceful and put together, she must have been the most popular girl in school, right? I nearly choked on my drink. Bai Ningbing, the most popular girl in school. That could not be more wrong. Not only was she not, she was the kind of person everyone went out of their way to avoid. An absolute alpha. I will never forget the first time I saw her. It was pouring rain, people on the street rushing everywhere. But she was sitting on the curb completely still, like she had just given up. She only looked up when I walked over and her tone was pure ice. She said, "Get lost." But I did not get lost. Instead, I held my umbrella over her head. That was how things started between me and Bai Ningbing. I shook my head and pushed those memories out of my head. The studio was way too loud. I ducked into the stairwell for some quiet, but the second I pushed the door open, I found Bai Ningbing standing there in the dark. She stared at me coldly. Just like back then, the stairwell was dark and quiet. I kept my head down and turned to leave, but Bai Ningbing stopped me. "What do you do here, assistant director, fresh out of school and already working for Director Zhang?" "Pretty impressive, thank you, Miss Bai. How old are you?" She gave a lazy little laugh and said, "We are the same age, and you are calling me Ms. Bai. Director Fu calls you Ms. Bai too, and he is 43. Then go ahead and say it one more time." I braced myself. Ms. Bai in the dark, I could barely make out her face. She seemed to curve the corners of her lips, but it was the kind of smile that had absolutely no warmth in it. My stomach was doing flips, but I kept telling myself, there is no way she recognizes me compared to 7 years ago. I was basically a different person. I went from a scrawny little kid to someone people actually call good looking. Even my own relatives barely recognized me. And on top of that, we were standing in the dark. "Ms. Bai, enjoy your break. I am heading back now, hold on." She stopped me again. "What is your name? Have you ever gone by any other names?" "No." Bai Ningbing went quiet, and I broke out in a cold sweat. I used to go by Fang Chen, but later I changed my name to Fang Xiaoyu. She lied to me back then, so I figured lying to her once made us even. The summer before junior year, I found Bai Ningbing on a street corner. She told me she had nowhere to go and no family. I believed her. I thought she was just like me. A poor kid nobody wanted after my parents divorced when I was little. They each started new families and both had sons. Neither of them wanted me, so I got dropped off at my aunt's place in her basement. I was a really well-behaved kid growing up because if I was good, at least I got fed. Me and Bai Ningbing were completely different kinds of people. I was introverted and quiet, and besides schoolwork, I did not know much about anything in sophomore year. We ended up in the same class. Nobody knew anything about her family. There were even rumors she had no parents and no home. At school we acted like strangers, but what nobody knew was that every night Bai Ningbing would tap on the basement window. I would clear out a spot on the floor for her to crash, and before my aunt woke up the next morning, she would always be gone like she was never there. Bai Ningbing skipped class all the time and was always coming back hurt. Every time I patched her up, she would say, "Fang Xiaoyu, can you please be more gentle? Just call me Xiaoyu Xiaoyu. Can you please be more careful? Xiaoyu was my nickname." My grandma gave it to me before she passed, and honestly, I liked it a whole lot more than Fang Xiaoyu, because Bai Ningbing kept crashing at my place. I somehow convinced myself she had it even worse than me, and on top of that I started to believe something else. One time I forgot my textbook and the teacher called me out in front of everyone. Bai Ningbing walked all the way from the back row to the front and dropped her own textbook on my desk. Even though I was a guy, I hit puberty late and was on the smaller side, so kids from other classes would mess with me. Whenever I was too flustered to stand up for myself, Bai Ningbing would step in front of me. Saying he is with me, I made the mistake of thinking we actually had something real. But I eventually figured out the truth: there was never anything real about it. Bai Ningbing came from a celebrity dynasty. Her family had properties and Ferraris. One of her shoes probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. She was just using me to get back at her family. When exactly did I figure that out? Probably the day Luke showed up. My train of thought got cut off when I got back to the studio. Someone shoved a bubble tea in my hand and said Luke was on set again. He bought drinks for the whole crew. Hey look, the two of them together are literally perfect. I looked over. Bai Ningbing had her head tilted, standing next to Luke, listening to him talk. Just like everyone else, I could not pull my eyes away from that picture-perfect scene. Then suddenly Bai Ningbing seemed to sense something and looked straight at me. I immediately dropped my gaze. When I looked back up, Bai Ningbing was not looking at me anymore. Like it was just my imagination the whole time. Bing Bing, after we wrap. Come to Paris with me for Fashion Week. His tone was exactly the same as 7 years ago. I could not help drifting off in high school. Me and Bai Ningbing kept things strictly platonic. It was not until the summer after graduation that we actually got together. Bai Ningbing was not exactly warm, but she never pushed me away either. She just never had anything soft to say. But in other ways, she was actually a pretty solid girlfriend, thoughtful and considerate. And she always made me feel respected. Bai Ningbing never brought me around her friends though. One time I went to the pool hall to find her. I was going to surprise her, but she just tensed up and said with this annoyed look on her face, "Do not come here anymore." I did not think too much of it. I figured that was just how she was until Luke showed up. He walked in wearing an expensive fitted suit, hair perfectly done, like he just stepped right into my world out of nowhere. Bing Bing, what are you doing here? I just picked up a Ferrari. Let me take you for a ride. The word Ferrari nearly knocked me sideways. Luke noticed my wide eyes and looked confused. Bing Bing, who is this? Hey there, I am Bai Ningbing's boyfriend, huh? Are you kidding me? There is no way Bing Bing would ever go for someone like you. I am her future boyfriend. Our families have an arrangement. Who said that? Bai Ningbing cut him off with a stone-cold look and shoved Luke toward the door. Her voice was firm, that arrangement with him. I never agreed to it, but her explanation felt hollow. Then Bai Ningbing's parents came looking for me.